Hi guys, it's been a minute. Today I'm going to show you how I took this thrifted tray I got from Goodwill and I redid it. I didn't like the green color on it. I love green, but I didn't like that particular green for this project, so I changed it. And I just showed you the back and how I did that, and I'll show you, well, I'll actually show you how I did that on the side piece inside this tray here. But what I'm doing first here is I am covering up that bottom part of the tray with a white color. It can be an acrylic white paint, it can be chalk paint. Chalk paint's what I had, so that's what I'm using. But you want to cover that up with a nice white paint so that you're covered up whatever is showing up down there. Plus it will make your rice paper really pop. And then here I'm changing that green color to a softer sagey green. I just like it better. I think it's going to go better with my rice paper of choice there. I'm going to put a nice coat of that color on there. Now if you want to, you can put a primer on this, and I believe I did. I think I just put a little primer on there so that my paint wouldn't just peel right off. It's better if you do. It takes a little more time, but it's worth the time and the effort to make sure that your finished piece doesn't peel. So I'm just going to cover that dark forest green color with a nice sage green. And I'm going to dry that up really well. Okay, after you've got that all dry, I'm going to put this crackle medium on there. It basically looks like glue, but you're going to put that over your base coat, completely cover it, and you can play whether you want to go thick or thin with it. It might make a difference in the way it cracks. A lot of times I think it depends on the surface you're putting it on, but play with it and see what you come up with and see how you like it. But you're going to completely cover that base coat, that where I painted it green, with that crackle medium. You're going to completely let it dry. You can let it dry overnight, or you can use your heat gun or blow dryer on it. And then you're going to put your top color on, and I'm choosing an antique white color. I didn't want it to be a bright white. I wanted it to look kind of old, so that's the color of choice. You can choose what you want to there. And you can see that as it dries, it's going to create this really cool looking cracks and texture. Looks like you've thrown it in your yard for a couple of years and then you brought it back in the house. And I don't know why we love that, but we do. And now I'm going to put down my rice paper now that I've got my crackle finished done. Now my inside rim looks like the back side of my tray. And I'm using Pinhart decoupage varnishing glue. I love it. If you don't have that, you can use Mod Podge. If you're going to, rice paper is not horribly expensive. It's a lot more expensive than a tissue paper is, or a napkin. But if you're going to spend the little extra money on the paper, spend a little extra money on the decoupage varnishing glue, because it does go on so nice, and I think it does make a little bit different look to it. It just goes on so much nicer when you've got a good product that you're using. Now this particular decoupage, it's not really a rice paper, it's more of a fabric decoupage. I guess you'd still call it a paper, but it's not real thin like tissue paper. It's got a little weight to it, a little texture. It's I believe it's called a fabric decoupage paper. And what I did is I laid it down. Now I'm putting another coat of decoupage varnishing glue over the top, because I want that sealed in really nice. So you're going to put a nice layer of that over the top of your paper. And then you're going to let it dry. You can either let it dry overnight, or you can use your heat gun. If you don't have a heat gun, use a hair dryer. If you don't have either one of those, you could use a fan. Just make sure nothing's blowing into it. Now here you can see that I'm putting my scripture verse. This is going to be Psalm 23, 1, verse 1. The Lord is my shepherd. And I had a really hard time with this piece. I did this on my daughter's Cricut, which is fine. I mean, they're wonderful to do that with, but be careful what font you choose. This font is pretty, but it's got really thin, it's tall and thin, and it's a booger to get down on the board. Just be aware of the font that you're using if you're printing your own little sayings or scriptures or whatever you want to put down on there. And then I'm going to very gently put another coat of decoupage varnishing glue there, because I want to make sure that that transfer doesn't peel off easily. You can see I just slightly put it over that, and I'm going to let it dry, because I am going to add a fine line crackle finish to the bottom of the tray. I really want to grunge this one up and make it look like an old hand-me-down antique that my great-great-grandmother had in her kitchen on the wall or on her bookshelf. So I want to make it look really old. Some people call it grungy. I'm calling it vintage old. That's what it looks like. Now you could stop here. You don't have to make that bottom part of your tray, you know, old, but that's what I'm going for, so that's what we're doing. This is Pen Art's Fine Line Crackle. It comes in two components, component 1 and component 2. Make sure you put one down first. And I'm having to loosen up that lid because I probably left some stuff around the edge when I closed it. What you're going to do is you're going to apply a nice generous amount. You don't have to make it sloppy, but you want to make sure that your brush isn't sticking. You want it to make sure that your brush is gliding across that surface really nice and smoothly, because if it's dragging, you're taking product off and not putting product on. So just be aware of how your brush feels as you're moving across the surface of your tray. This to me looks like white school glue. It probably is a little different, but it has the same texture as Elmer's glue, but it's not. It's a crackle component for fine line. Okay, once you have your component 1 completely dry, you go on to step number 2, and you use the number 2 component of that fine line crackle. You're going to put a nice coat of that on there, just like we did with the component 1, and then you're going to completely let it dry. This is where your crackle happens. If you have time, let it dry overnight. If you want to hurry, use your heat gun or your air dryer, but just make sure that you get it completely dry, because the more it dries, the more crackle you get. And I don't know if you can see it because it's there's such a shine on there, but it has now created this beautiful fine line crackle throughout the piece. And to highlight that, now you're going to put some antique gel paste or stain on it. And this is a Pen Art product that I love. I believe it's the color Umber, and it just makes the prettiest antique lines on your piece. If you can see it here, you'll see where you can see that antiquing going into the crackle, the fine lines of your piece. It's giving it that old world vintage look. You're gonna rub it into those cracks really good, then wipe off the excess. And then if you see some pieces or places that it doesn't have as much as you want, add some more, and then go rub it off. And you don't see it here yet, but there's a space on the land that I didn't think had enough crackle or fine line in it. So I added a little more of component 2, let it dry, and see if I got a little bit more crackle, and I did. I don't know if you're supposed to do that. I tried it and it worked for me, but right there along the top I can see a place where there's just, see, you can see where my paintbrush is. I'm adding a little bit more of that component 2, and I'm going to dry that and see if I can get a little bit more crackle, and I did. It would have been perfectly fine if I'd left it the way it was, because things age, even on a tray, the tray itself, it will age in places different than it will from another place on the tray, if that makes any sense. But I wanted to try it, and I was happy with it when I was done. It's funny, sometimes the piece itself will just do what it wants to do. It'll age the way it wants, it'll crackle the way it wants, and you just, that's what makes it so fascinating to actually do this technique on your projects, because you never really quite know what you're going to end up with. Each piece is unique. You could use the same rice paper, a wooden tray that's very similar, and it turn out slightly different, which makes it a unique piece of art, which I love. If you don't have antiquing gel, you could use mica powders. I've done that before, but I really liked the look of this antique umber color from Pint Art. I also had never done the fine line crackle after I had put on the scripture verses, so I wanted to see if that worked, and it worked just fine. It didn't bother the transfer at all. Just make sure every process that you do on your piece is dry before you move on to the next one. And here I'm just kind of grunging up the outside. And you can make this as little or as much as you want. You rub it on and then take it off. If you want to add a little bit more to one area, you just add a little bit more and maybe not rub so much off. At first I thought, oh, I don't know if I'm going to like this. But I took a baby wipe and I wiped off some of the excess, and then I really liked it. So just play with it, kind of trust the process. I love the way this tray turned out. Gosh, if you guys do a tray with one of these techniques, send me a picture of it. I'd love to see what you come up with. And this is what it looks like when it's done. I added a little bit of jute rope around the inside of the tray. I didn't have to do a lot of painting on this one, but it turned out beautiful.